Hi, I'm Andrew Cooperthwaite, Alpine Product Manager with Head Tyrolia, here today in our Boulder showroom talking about our new revolutionary customization process that we launched for 18-19 called Liquid Fit. Liquid Fit can be found in the Nexo line of boots, both men's and women's, the Core line of boots, and also the Vector line of men's and women's boots as well. As far as making a boot smaller, in particular around the most difficult area to fit, the heel and the ankle, we've always struggled to find a quick, easy solution. Liquid Fit allows us to solve that problem in the heel and the ankle problem in a quick, easy system. We can go ahead and fill those areas in and make each in particular boot that we're fitting very customized to the individual's ankle and heel area. And if you look at this demonstration model, you'll see that all the area with the yellow, that is the paraffin wax-like material that we're actually injecting into the liner. The material is non-compressible, so when I press on it, it will move to another area or find that void within your heel and ankle pocket. And then you can also see on the medial side where we have the yellow material that we're filling up all of this area that's particular and individual or specific to each individual that you fit. I can't stress enough how great of a system this is. Liquid Fit is just that. It's liquid, it's designed to stay fluid. Every time you reinsert your foot into the boot, that paraffin material is resetting itself around the nuances of your ankle and heel. So it's a truly flexible system. It's a comfort-oriented system, but it does increase the performance of the boot tremendously. One other aspect that's important to mention when you're talking about Liquid Fit and the stock liner that comes into Liquid Fit. This is my display model. This is a stock liner from one of our women's boots, the Nexo 110 women's. These liners are ready to be skied in out of the box. Liquid Fit is not mandatory to the system whatsoever. You can go ahead and ski on this liner and get a great fit out of the heel and ankle, but when you want to add precision, you want to add performance, that's when you go to the Liquid Fit system, or when you need to add fit and you have a very low volume ankle, you go to the Liquid Fit system. And it really changes the way that the skier feels their ankle is being held. So you can go ahead and add this system a day or two after they've skied in it. You can add the system immediately upon purchasing the boot. You can always add more material to the system, and that's important to take note of as well. You can also ski in the liner for a year and come back and have material put in it. So it's a very flexible system, and you'll see in another video you can actually remove material for the liner, and you can check that video out on our YouTube channel as well. So the materials that we need to have on hand, obviously our boot and our Liquid Fit liner. As far as the materials that you're going to be injecting, you're going to need your cartridge with the paraffin material in it. You will use your gun as well. This is the gun that will actually inject the paraffin material into the liner. And then most importantly, you're going to need your 2 injection tubes for each liner. So if you're doing full pair, you're going to have 4 injection tubes. These are the injection tubes. You'll take note that these injection tubes are yellow. They already have the paraffin material in it, meaning that I've used these tubes prior to doing this video. And this is important to take note because these tubes are reusable. The material, the paraffin material, does not set, it does not harden, so you can go ahead and use these injection tubes over and over and over again, as we highly recommend that you do. So now we're ready to begin the process. At this point in the boot fit, I've shell fit my customer. We've gone ahead and if we're going to do form fit customization system, we've done that along with our Perfect Fit 3D liner customization system using our oven. We want to make sure that we do those procedures before we do Liquid Fit. If there's a custom insole in the boot, I'm going to go ahead and reinsert that custom insole into the boot before we begin the Liquid Fit customization process. And then I'm going to prep my liners. You can certainly insert your injection tubes into the liner with the liner in the shell. I like to do it with them out. I think it's a little bit easier and it's a little less cumbersome. So you can see I've got my liner here. I have my injection tube. You'll see that I have the Liquid Fit sleeve that's on the liner itself. I just like to open that up a little bit with my finger. I begin to insert the injection tube down into that sleeve. And when you're injecting it, you're going to come to a stopping point. That stopping point is a one-way valve that's built into the sleeve that's in the liner itself. When we're working with a material like a paraffin material, we want that material to inject into the bladder, but when I remove this injection tube, I want to make sure that that material is not going to back its way out of the liner. So that one-way valve is very important. The way that we bypass that one-way valve, or that resistance that you feel, is that you give the tube a turn and continue to press down, and you'll get that injection tube to move down in, and you'll find that the red line is going to go right to the top of the sleeve. When you've hit that mark, you don't need to push the injection tube down any further. I'll go ahead and do the other side, my other tube as well. This liner is ready to be injected. I'll now reinsert it into the shell. Okay, now we have 2 injection tubes in each liner. I've reinserted the liners back into the boots. We have our skier.
Hello.
Julia. And Julia, we'll have you go ahead and climb up on the stand once you get into a nice comfortable width, and then we'll go ahead and get our materials ready. So I have my injection gun. I'll open the top of that, make sure it's pulled all the way back. And then I have my cartridge. The cartridge cap just twists off, just a quarter turn counterclockwise. We'll take the cap off, and then you go ahead and snap the seal off of the cartridge. You can actually look down on the cartridge and see the paraffin material. It's important to note that this cap will go back on the cartridge. A lot of times you won't use a complete cartridge, or you'll finish with half or 3/4 of a cartridge left, and you can go ahead, recap it to use it for your next customer. Okay, so now I have my cartridge ready to go into the gun. We've got the front of the gun open. We're going to insert the cartridge into it, pull that front back, snap it into place. Now at this point, as we always do with any type of boot fitting, we're going to start with the medial side and then work to the lateral side on each boot. So I'm going to start by my cartridge set into the injection tube. It's important to note when you are inserting the cartridge into the injection tube that you want to make sure that that is a solid seal between the two pieces. If not, you'll actually have material squirt out the side of the injection tube. So just make sure that you've got a solid lock on there with your half turn clockwise of the cartridge in the gun itself. Now we're ready to begin injecting the bladder. The medial bladder is a bigger bladder. It covers more surface area of the liner. The lateral bladder is slightly smaller. So more often than not, you will have more material on the medial side and a little less material in the lateral side. So Julia, I'm gonna have you flex your knee forward, both legs, and come back up in the boot, and come forward, and just continue to do that through the process. So as she's flexing forward and coming back up continually, I'm gonna start injecting the liner. And you'll notice that I'm releasing the gun completely and then pulling it, giving a pause in between each pull. Julia, you should start to feel some material working down into the bladder and around your ankle.
Feels great.
We've got about half of a cartridge in there. How does that feel?
Feels really good.
All right, so now we're done with the medial side. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the cartridge off. I'm also gonna remove that injection tube so that when she's flexing, material is not working back out of the boot. I'm then going to go to move to the lateral side and then begin the injection process on the lateral side. There's a couple of easy tricks that you can use to understand how much material that you're putting into the bladder while you're communicating with your skier. One is you can see the end of the cartridge as it moves forward. So you can see here we're at about a half a cartridge. The other area that you can use is the gun itself, and you'll see that if I pull this back, you can see a 0, a 50, and 100. If I push this forward to the point where the material is in the cartridge, you can see that I'm just at about 50%. So this is corresponding with the 50% on the gun. We've now completed the injection process on the right, both the medial and lateral bladders. We're going to go ahead and remove the injection tubes on both sides. You can now have your skier stand in the boot comfortably for a minute or two at most. They can go ahead and flex if they like, or they can just stand in a nice athletic position in the boot. The boot is then ready to ski. So that's the liquid fit customization process. Always a good idea to keep the tech manual close at hand in case you have any questions while you're going through the process. I urge you to check it out at your head authorized retailer.